All right, everybody. Welcome to the Contextual Christian Church Bible Study, where today we're going to read Nehemiah chapter 4, verses 9 to 23. I'm going to pray it in. Everybody bow your heads. Father, thank you for getting us on this Bible study today. As with the last Bible study it was funny, it was interesting. And I pray that we get another interesting one. Maybe some things we didn't realize from before that it just hits us during the Bible study, or maybe something new, maybe a new lesson. So let's go ahead and get started. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. So last time we had gotten into, first of all, finishing up chapter 3, we had finished up with listing of the different groups and what they were repairing. Now, when a guy named Sambalat had heard that they were building the wall, he was angry, but he started making fun of the Jews, talking about how they're feeble, what are they going to do, basically trying to mock them, acting like they're weak and that worthless. He even brought up at one point if like a fox were to go up, that it would break down their whole wall. And then as it would continued in 4, they were sitting here, and we had the children of Israel or Nehemiah in this prayer asking God to be there for them against this enemy that's coming up. And don't hide their iniquity, but to go against them, to be on the children of Israel's side. So they continued to build the wall, but after some time happened, we had Sanballat, and this is the second thing, and Tobiah and a few other people who were really mad, and then they all were working together to try to come against and fight against Jerusalem, to try to stop or hinder their progression on this rebuild of the wall and everything. So we'll see what happens next after verse 8 as we're starting today in verse 9. And I'll go ahead and switch it to our first section so our first reader can read. All right, and go ahead, Charles, when you're ready.
All right, I'll be reading Nehemiah chapter 4, verses 9 to 13. I'm going to give it a couple seconds. Verse 9. Nevertheless, we made our prayer unto our God and set a watch against them day and night because of them. And Judah said, the strength of the bearers of burdens is decayed, and there is much rubbish, so that we are not able to build the wall. And our adversary said, they shall not know, neither see, till we come in the midst among them and slay them and cause the work to cease. And it came to pass that when the Jews which dwelt by them came, they said unto us 10 times, from all places whence ye shall return unto us, they will be upon you. Therefore set I in the lower places behind the wall, and on the higher places. I even set the people after their families with their swords, their spears, and their bows. Matt, you see I in the verse, right? Because I'm on the app.
Which part?
Verse 13.
This. Yeah. After
Okay, it
places?
it, it shows therefore set I in the lower places.
Wait, what? Therefore, set I in the lower places. Yeah.
Okay, just making sure because I'm on the app. It just looks weird on the app.
What you mean?
So on my app, my eye was so close to the five, I was like, I thought it was like a typo or a glitch or something.
To the 5.
Yeah, so on verse 13, so like I said, I'm on the app. So I'm not reading it on the Zoom, I'm reading it on the Bible app. Therefore set, and then I have the H5975. But after that
Oh,
75,
screenshot
I
that
is
and
right.
send it to me so I could see what you're saying because I was confused. You mean the
No, you're good.
definition hyperlink?
Yeah, the definition hyperlink.
Yeah, because I was looking at the app as in Zoom, not that part,
No,
not
no,
the.
no, no. I'm not reading off the
Okay,
Zoom. I'm reading off the
give me a
Bible app.
second. Let me go there real quick because you just confused me. All right, Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. It looks like a line instead of an I because of how
Do
close
you
it
see what
is
I'm
to the
saying?
number five. Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
like there's a
that's what
border
I
there or
said.
something. Yeah.
I said I, but I was like, that it should be I. In my mind, I'm like, that should be I, but I'm like, let me just read it and I'll ask
Yeah,
after.
that is I. That is I.
Okay, good, good, good.
Okay.
That
I
keep
was like, what are
that
you
that allows me
talking
to.
about? Five?
Now you, yeah, and because of the way they wrote the I, why did they make it look like just a line? You can
Hey,
write the
that's
eyes better than that. The
when
app
you
can.
type
Let me
it
say that.
when you type it on Word, unless you choose a different font, that's how an I looks when it's capital. Same thing as a lowercase L and a capital I look exactly the same.
Oh man. So for my section, Judah, the rest of Israel, they're scared because they already know of who are those guys we talked about before, Sanballat and Tobiah. They're scared because Sanballat and Tobiah now got other people around and they want to stop Jerusalem from making this wall. I get it, of course. Um, but when it says Nehemiah, I need to bring this up. Nehemiah. Well, let me say that. Yeah. Nehemiah is the one talking when he says he's the one that's gathering everybody together. He's the one that's going to be in certain spots. He's the one that's assigning people, different people with the swords, the spears, and bows. He's basically trying to bring everybody together while they're like afraid about the whole situation, about them enemies coming against them to prevent them from building the wall. Um,
And what lesson could be taken for today from that?
uh, how do I make it not so long? I'm thinking about the way Nehemiah is, the way he's treating his situation, leading the situation. Um, I'm thinking about we would have to be the same way in our own situations, in our own lives, with our own families, with our faith in God. We need to make sure we have that faith in God, but we need to make sure we take that action and lead and get other people that are around us, our family, our friends, make sure to reassure them that everything's going to be okay. Let's figure this out. Don't worry,
Exactly.
God's going to take care of us. I didn't want to
Exactly.
drag that out, but that was how I was trying to get that point across.
Exactly. When we're looking at it, it's a real aspect showing again what faith means. He prayed about it to ask God to help him, and he started seeing some like the strength of the bearer. They see they're starting to decay because of everything going on. So he starts setting up people for war. He doesn't sit here and wait. Now there are times to wait on the Lord. Don't get me wrong. But when you've prayed for God's help in a specific subject, and there's something you can do to show you believe in it, you start walking that way. Unless there's a specific designation that you need to wait, unless there's something like that going on, you work towards the things that you have faith in. Again, not once in the entire Bible have we seen a man of God who is in a moment of being godly ever just pray and do nothing. We have always seen them pray and focus on the things of God. We've seen them pray and take action. But what we've never seen them do is pray and then just go about their business and pretend like nothing happened. We've never seen that. So, good. Now then, does anybody have any comments or questions as we go to the second section? Now would be the time to raise your hands. All right. Then I'll be reading verses 14 to 18 of chapter 4 of Nehemiah. I don't know why I said Netha. It's Necha. But anyways, give everybody a second. All right. Verse 14. And I looked and rose up and said unto the nobles and to the rulers and to the rest of the people, be not ye afraid of them. Remember the Lord, which is great and terrible, and fight for your brethren, your sons and your daughters, your wives and your houses. And it came to pass, when our enemies heard that it was known unto us, and God had brought their counsel to naught, that we returned all of us to the wall, everyone unto his work. And it came to pass from that time forth that that the half of my servants wrought in the work, and the other half of them held both the spears, the shields, and the bows, and the habergeons, yeah, and the rulers were behind all the house of Judah. They which builded on the wall, and they that bear burdens, with those that laded every one with one of his hands wrought in the work, and with the other hand held a weapon. For the builders, every one had his sword girded by his side, and so builded. And he that sounded the trumpet was by me. All right, so we got a little bit of a strategy session here. Again, being prepared, taking action. Yeah, they're going back to build the wall, but they're not just going back to build the wall and then pretending that the enemies don't exist. They got swords on them. They're prepared for war as a just in case measure. This is a perfect example of the whole right to bear arms taking place in the Bible. Our Second Amendment right in America. Here they are building a wall. Here they are rebuilding Jerusalem. But they have to worry about possible enemies. They have to worry about it. And it's not a time of fun. It's a time of focus. There is positives going on, but it's not a time of just joking around. They have enemies around them who are trying to see if they could catch them slipping. So rather than just going about nonchalant and not thinking things through, they have a plan and they're prepared. So should anything pop off, they're already ready to go. And some people will look at that from the outside and they'll say something like, well, you're asking for a fight then, right? You're asking for a fight. No, you're not asking for a fight because you're prepared. You're recognizing an enemy exists. Charles, in really, really severely rich neighborhoods, do they tend to have their doors locked or their doors unlocked?
Unlocked.
Exactly. Thomas, in really, really poor neighborhoods, do they tend to have doors locked or doors unlocked?
They don't have doors. But if they did, they'd be locked.
Exactly. If they have doors, it's locked. Why would you lock your doors in a poor neighborhood but not in a rich neighborhood? In a rich neighborhood, you have a lot more stuff that you could steal, right, Charles? There's a lot more available to steal in a rich neighborhood than in a poor neighborhood.
Right.
So why don't they have their doors locked in rich neighborhoods, but they do in poor neighborhoods where there's a lot less to steal? Because there's also a difference in culture and a difference in threat level. You're not sitting here in the middle of nowhere in a rich neighborhood and you're worried about who your neighbors are and if they're coming to steal from you. They already have their own, and you're in a quiet neighborhood. But in a poor neighborhood, especially where people don't have much for themselves, they're trying to take everything they can get any way they can get it. So there's a difference in surrounding threat. And threat doesn't need to be only for your life, threat for your property, threat for your family. There's many things that that threat can impact. The bottom line is, if you're not accounting for the threat, that doesn't mean that you're walking by faith. There's a difference between going through a real necessity moment that you have no choice, but you got to trust God. And so you go in knowing there's a risk of your life, but you're still doing the right thing versus unnecessary risk. And the Bible talks about us having a wisdom like doves. I mean, innocence as doves, but like a wisdom of a serpent. We're supposed to be wise, even in the midst of our innocence, not unwise. And that's exactly what they're doing here. They're trying to do the right thing. They're doing the innocent thing. They're just rebuilding everything. That don't mean that they got to be stupid in how they go about doing it. And that's the bottom line. All right. Now, does anybody have any comments or questions as we go to the final section for our Bible study session today? Now would be a time to raise your hands. All right, then go ahead, Charles, when you're ready. Don't forget to unmute.
I'll be reading Nehemiah chapter 4, verses 19 to 23. Verse 19. And I said unto the nobles and to the rulers and to the rest of the people, the great the work is great and large, and we are separated upon the wall, one far from another. In what place therefore ye hear the sound of the trumpet, resort ye thither unto us. Our God shall fight for us. So we labored in the work, and half of them held the spears from the rising of the morning till the stars appeared. Likewise, at the same time said I unto the people, let every one with his servant lodge within Jerusalem, that in the night that they may be a guard to us, and labor on the day. So neither I, nor my brethren, nor my servants, nor the men of the guard which follow me, none of us put off our clothes, saving that every one put them off for washing. So it sounds like he starts off in 19. It sounds like he's starting off with a pep speech. The work we're about to do, we got a lot of work to do, guys. Come on down. We need to get this work done. But he's also adding also with the trumpet situation. When you hear the sound of the trumpet, what it sounds like he's saying is come back. Come back and come back around us. And God will still fight for us. Don't worry. We're gonna have people working and still gonna have their, their swords and all of that. But we're also gonna have people guarded at night. So people working in the day, laborers in the day, guards at night. And the only other thing I wanted to add to my explanation was him talking about um, no one, none of his brethren, servants, no one, none of the men of the guards, none of them like put off their clothes, saving that everyone put them off for washing. In other words, it sounded like he's saying we didn't do anything with our clothes until it was time to wash them. Otherwise, we kept our clothes on while we kept on working and guarding and working and guarding. That's all I got.
Wow. You didn't think about the impact of it. Why point out not taking anything off from except for washing, Thomas?
He's implying that they stay ready.
There you go. They stayed ready, is what he's saying, Charles. Not that
Stay
they're
ready so
literally
you don't
talking
have to
about.
get ready.
Exactly. Only time they took off their clothes or anything is when it was time that it needed to be washed. Outside of that, they stayed ready for the fight. So when you read that and you explained that they had the washing, that was a necessity to bring that up. You left out that context because you left out the impact of it,
I
in
got you.
turn
Yeah,
not explaining. See what I'm saying?
I see what you're saying.
All right. And good job, Thomas, on the answer. Now then, does anybody have any comments or questions about any of the parts before we go and pray it out from the Bible study portion? Now would be the time to raise your hands. All right. Then I'll go ahead and pray us out from the Bible study portion. Everybody bow your heads. Father, thank you for this time of study that we have to be able to get another lesson in staying prepared, another lesson in being wise, and another lesson in how to deal with our enemies. There's a lot of things that we could take from this to impact our personal lives, both in how a godly man acts and also in how wise people act. And we just pray that the lessons that we do take impact us on an eternal effect, constantly doing better and constantly reassessing and self evaluating so that we could be better and closer to you, being wise as the serpents and innocent as the doves are. And your son, so to speak, and I mean, there's this, so to speak, in your son's holy and precious name, Jesus Christ Yeshua. Amen. Oh, I feel
Amen.
like Charles laughed at that. In your son, so to speak. Did you laugh, Charles?
We have our days.
I knew it. In your son, so to speak. Oh my goodness. Well, I'm going to sleep as soon as we're done here. But as towards the Bible listening, I made it to Red Bluff, California, by the way. But as towards the Bible
Nice.
listening, yeah, tonight's Bible listening is First Chronicles chapter 9 to 22. Again, First Chronicles chapter 9 to 22. Let me know when you guys got it.
Got it.
Got it.
All right. Then last night was I was Second Kings chapter 23 to First Chronicles chapter 8. And then we'll have Thomas go first.
I'm not gonna lie,
Go ahead.
guys. That's the reading was mad boring. It was so repetitive. I was trying not to fall asleep. But
Oh
I
yeah.
got something.
It's a name thing, bro. Every time we go through
Yeah.
the names that you imagine how many times I kept on going through that Genesis part where all the names, I'd read everything be all good, then I get that part, and then I'd stop reading the Bible for like months on end. Every time.
Yep.
So you guys
So
didn't
I
write
have
any names down?
so I have
Oh,
First Chronicles chapter 5 verse 20. It says, and they were helped against them. And Hagarites were delivered into their hands, for they cried to God in the battle and was entreated of them because they put their trust in him. All right, so we have one second. I'm trying not to butcher these names. So pretty much, long story short, the half tribe of Manasseh, they end up winning the great victory because they relied on God and not themselves in this situation here. Um, then I put victory comes not by strength, but by trust in God. That's all I got for that one.
Good. Exactly. They trusted in him, success followed. That is the formula.
That is the formula.
All right, Charles, did you have anything you want to add on that?
no.
Okay. All right, Thomas, did you have another?
Yeah.
All
First
right.
Chronicles 7:40. All these were the children of Asher, heads of their father's house, choice and mighty men of valor, chief of the princes, and the numbers throughout the genealogy of them that were apt to the war and to battle was 20,006 men. So we get into the mighty men of valor and pretty much highlighting the genealogy of the warriors of Asher's tribe. those men who were ready for battle. uh,
Yes, sir.
I don't have anything else that I did. I don't.
All right. Charles, anything about that one?
No.
I think honestly, when I look at the military today, I think they had more there than we do now. That's the only thing that stands out to that about me. For me, yeah, you got 26,000 men that are like men of valor that are really ready to go to war. I don't know about y'all, but I haven't met a lot of military personnel or ex-military that were actually in it because they were trying to do the right thing. Most people I've met in my entire life that are military personnel, ex or current, yeah, they went through some hardships, but they were there for the benefits. They were there for the stable job. They were there because they didn't have no place to go. They were there because they get the free education. Like, I appreciate the work you did, but I'm not going to give you a certain extra level of praise just because you fought in a war when you were getting free stuff out of it. You were getting benefits out of it. It's different when you're there because you really are trying to fight for people of America, fight for your family, fight for this. Like when you have that level of honor. But I haven't met a lot of veterans that actually have that honor and were really doing it for that. A lot of them, and I would say most of the ones I met, they didn't have nowhere else to go. And it's like, well, we go this, or like I could still struggle to find a job, or I could go here and I have all my bills covered and everything. I'm like, I'm not gonna give you praise because you got a benefit and you had to risk something for that benefit, even if it is your life. It's not like you're doing it for the right reasons. You're doing it because you're getting something out of it. But here we got 26,000 men. There's a possibility that under that terms of what I'm calling it, what a real man of valor is, I don't know that we actually have that much in our military today. I mean, we got people in the military that are there because they like to kill people. That's not a man of valor. It's not a courageous person. That's a murderer who just has a legal way to murder. You see what I'm saying, Thomas?
Yep.
I mean, Charles, have you met somebody, or Charles or Thomas? Charles and then Thomas, I should say. Have you met anybody in the military or from the military? I don't care, current, past, or already in, doesn't matter. Where they're actually there because they wanted to serve the country and not because of one of the other many reasons. But it's like they really wanted to do it because they're patriotic.
I've
Charles and
only
then
met
Thomas.
I've only met one from the and it was because of the 9/11 situation. This is when I used to work on cars. He was the master mechanic. Everybody else is, I got some type of benefit out of it. I got to kill people, this, that, and the third. But he was the only one because of the whole 9/11 situation.
Yeah. And Thomas?
All my military buddies are in there for the benefits and the career building stuff. That's it.
Yeah. And so that's why I look at it like that. I'm like, here we got 20. That's why I said that too. I'm pretty sure I would not be surprised if we didn't have 26,000 that were there for the honor of it, that were really there because they're just true patriots and really wanted to serve their country or wanted to protect their family at home and all that from the enemies outside.
Sorry, sorry to disturb you, Matt. I didn't mean to interrupt. My cousin, I forgot to bring him up. I totally forgot about him. Um, this is an older cousin though. He did Vietnam, so yeah, he's old.
Oh
But
yeah,
he's one of those two. Yeah,
okay,
but he's one of those
okay.
two.
I mean, but still, like that's two people, and we're including somebody from Vietnam. That's
No,
a
man. I
long
know. I
age
bet.
gap to
I know.
only have two people, you know? Like I can't
9/11 in
name
Vietnam.
one.
Yeah,
9/11
you got
in
a point.
Vietnam. Like
You got
that's
a
a
point.
long time to only know two people you've met that were really there because of patriotism. Really there because of the honor behind it and trying to protect home. And that is so crazy. Everybody, that's why the whole like thank you for your service. Why am I thanking you for something you're getting a benefit out for risking your life for? You're not there because it's the right thing to do. You're not there because you're trying to protect home. You're there because you're getting something out of it. That's like somebody roofing in America, in Vegas. Yeah, it's you're risking your life roofing in Vegas in summertime. Like somebody being an underwater welder. Us as truck drivers. There's a lot of accidents and a lot of things that happen. And so like I'm not saying our jobs are dangerous. I'm not saying that they're more dangerous either. What I am saying is if you're going into something for the benefit and the risk is you might have your life lost, but you know that going in and you're going in because of the benefit, then you don't deserve our praise. You're having an equivalent exchange. You get the benefit and you fight the war. So, I'm sorry, it's not the same. We might not have 26,000 men of valor. Not saying we don't. I'm just saying I wouldn't be surprised if it was really that less. And then if we were to go on like polls and stuff, I guarantee you there's a lot more that say that they want to do it for the country than actually do because they don't want to look bad. Could you imagine, Charles, doing a poll, a questionnaire, and it says like, "Why did you join the military?" Can you imagine how many people lie and say it's because they want to protect the country because they don't want to look bad? Man. All right, go ahead, Thomas, with your next one. Or your last one.
That was it.
All right. Go ahead, Charles.
Matt, Thomas, you guys remember a long time ago? We were kids when this happened, but we were kids and the computer gaming was blowing up, and the army made a video game for the gamers to download. But part of it was like an application sign up where if you played the game and downloaded the game, you signed up for the army. Y'all remember that? It was a big,
I
it was a
forgot
big,
about
big part.
that.
Yeah, yeah. That those there was a bunch of gamers. I was like, oh, I shouldn't be here. Oh well. You wanted to play this video game that bad. It was when we were kids at this time, but man, it was funny when it happened.
Exactly. And not reading the fine print. You're not even there for not even there for the benefits, but because you want
Yeah,
to play a
but
video game.
for the listening, all I got is Second Kings chapter 23. It's chapter 23 verses 3 to 24. This is just King Josiah. This is when he goes up and he tears up the altars. He's tearing up the idols. He's getting rid of the priests that represent other gods. He's getting rid of all the things that are not pertaining to the one true God. This goes down
Hmm.
the list of all these things he's getting rid of. That was the only interesting thing I got out of this. Oh, one more thing. Verse 5, just a separate note. It brought up planets in verse 5. Remember a long time ago we had this conversation about how I said there
That was
wasn't
mine. That was mine for that exact reason.
oh, you wrote that down?
Yeah, for that exact reason.
That's so funny. So Thomas, before getting into this, I had a debate, back and forth really, talking about
Discussion.
how the Bible doesn't have it didn't talk about aliens, it didn't talk about other planets. Well, here in this verse it does.
Exactly. Like
Sucks for Charles.
and the funny part is this doesn't actually specifically say aliens. It
No,
says
it
the
doesn't.
planets, it says the stars, and it says and all the hosts of them. Okay. The hosts of them could mean many things. What this verse does do is it gives potentiality to the idea of aliens. So, if it turned out aliens were real, would that contradict the Bible at all? No, because of this verse right here. Literally would be included in the host, all the host of them. Because look at the definition for the word host, Charles.
Let me go to it.
Mhm.
6635. A mass of persons or
Yeah,
figuratively things.
a mass of persons or a group of things. Well, we have a whole bunch of aliens, Thomas. Wouldn't that be a mass of persons?
Yeah.
So, if aliens do exist, if they turn out to be real, that would line up with the Bible. If they don't turn out to be real, then this could be talking about angels. Both are potential. Both would match with the context. So, whether they do or don't exist, the Bible's not contradicted at all. All right, go ahead, Charles, with the second one. Well, actually, Thomas, did you have anything you wanted to say on Charles's one?
No, sir.
All right, then go ahead, Charles, with the second one.
I don't have a second one. That's all I got. Just bringing up that and bringing up five. That's it.
All right, that's cool. I got another ones. All right, then for mine, chapter 24, verse 1 to 4. This showed Nebuchadnezzar. This is in Second Kings. Remember that Second Kings timeline is the same as Second Chronicles. It's the ending of it before they go into captivity. And in verse 1 through 4, we have this talking about how the King Nebuchadnezzar in Babylon was taking them for captivity, showing in Second Kings where it is. So that stuck out to me for that, because I had forgotten that it was in Second Kings until I heard that. Now, and it said again as to why. In his days, Nebuchadnezzar, Jehoiakim, in his days, Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, came up, and Jehoiakim became his servant 3 years. Then he turned and rebelled against him. And the Lord sent against him bands of the Chaldees, and bands of the Syrians, and bands of the Moabites, and bands of the children of Ammon, and sent them against Judah to destroy it, according to the word of the Lord. So again, we had this working as God wanted for their destruction. Nebuchadnezzar was needed for this. But anyways, you guys have anything you wanted to add or say about that before I go to the next one?
No.
All right. Then my second one was also in First Chronicles chapter 5, but it was in verse 2. For Judah prevailed above his brethren, and of him came the chief ruler. But the birthright was Joseph's. Of Judah came the chief ruler. This not only is talking about that time, but this is also the same prophecy as other parts show that the Messiah would come from the tribe of Judah. That's where you've probably heard the phrase before, the Lion of Judah. That's the reference. One of many. Now, the last one is a two-part. It's technically two parts, but it's realistically one because it's all for the same point. Chapter 6, verse 13 to 15 and 31. So First Chronicles chapter 6, verse 13 to 15, and then verse 31. In 13 to 15. And Shalom begot Hilkiah, and Hilkiah. And Hilkiah begot Azariah, and Azariah begot Sariah, and Sariah begot Jehozadak. And Jehozadak went into captivity when the Lord carried away Judah and Jerusalem by the hand of Nebuchadnezzar. When we first went through this, Charles, I don't know if you remember, but we were talking about it was kind of confusing because we had some names that seemed like they were in the past further, but then they're coming up here, or they should be later on, but then we had that going on. Here we have it going up to Nebuchadnezzar, talking about that this person was there when they went into captivity by Nebuchadnezzar. But then we go all the way down to 31 of the same chapter, and these are they whom David set over the service of the song of the house of the Lord, after the ark had rest. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but Charles, isn't Nebuchadnezzar hundreds of years after David?
Yeah, he's after David.
But yet he was written about first here. It gave a little correction to the way we were reading it before. First Chronicles is not chronological in its entirety, especially at the beginning. What we were listening to here, and this gave the context for that, is that we're going down each tribe to the end of their tribe, up to the captivity part. That's what we were going through, and we didn't realize, or at least I didn't realize it till the listening today. You see what I'm saying, Charles?
So instead of timelines, we're going through tribes. The start of the tribe to the end of the tribe,
Exactly.
rather than the start of a time to the end of a time. I got it now.
Exactly. Because we were sitting here like, wait, we just had that before, but then we had it after, but then what's going
It
on here?
was
We were all
it was
confused.
confusing. Yeah, it was.
And it wasn't until I heard the part about Nebuchadnezzar this time that I was like, oh, that's the, because now that we've read about Nebuchadnezzar in Ezekiel and Daniel, that's during the captivity. That's the end of Second Kings. That's the end of Second Chronicles. So the beginning of Second Chronicles is just going down the lineage of each individual and showing how they go through. It's not chronological at all. Does that make sense, Thomas and Charles?
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yep.
And it also made me realize one last thing I'm going to say. I have noticed things through the listening after studying the Bible in the sections that we've gone through. I've noticed parts that we missed when we were going through and reading it by itself. And we didn't notice when we were listening the first 3 times going through. You see what I'm saying, Charles and Thomas? Like there's parts we've already read
I
that
think we're
we,
all noticing things. I mean, the Abraham Lincoln situation, that was funny.
yeah,
It
that
just
still
hit you
bothers
then.
me.
But it just hit you in that moment.
Yeah, literally never realized that it's, yes, it's from the Bible. It's not only from the Bible, it's the opposite of the context of how it's used in the Bible.
Yeah.
Thomas, I was telling
See
Charles
that?
about this yesterday. You know what the context of a house divided against itself shall not stand actually is? The biblical context?
No, I'm not sure.
Jesus was being accused by the Pharisees that he is casting out demons by the power of demons. And that's when he says that. The house divided against itself shall not stand. Or how will Satan come against Satan? His whole thing there is his whole context point is I am not with them. He is specifying a division, dividing himself away from the devils. I'm not part of them. Then we look at Abraham Lincoln's meaning. What did Abraham Lincoln mean when he said, a house divided against itself shall not stand? Do you know, Thomas?
Speaking as one nation,
Yeah,
separating civil war, so I think.
yeah, exactly. So Jesus was saying, a house divided against itself shall not stand, to point out that he is not one of the demons. He is separating himself. And Abraham Lincoln is using the quote in the exact opposite of how Jesus was saying it. Because what Abraham Lincoln, he's not separating the North and the South. He's saying we are one nation and we need to stick together. So Abraham Lincoln, intentionally or unintentionally, called our nation a nation of demons. That's crazy work. Because that's what the subject matter was on, casting out demons, when Jesus said that. So Abraham Lincoln called our nation a nation of demons by saying that, when you understand the actual reference and where it comes from. Unintentional or intentional. Now, realistically, I think it was unintentional. I think he just liked the way it sounded. And I was like, oh, that's good. That's powerful. I'm going to use that. Had no idea what he was talking about. You see what I'm saying, Thomas?
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah. We didn't realize that when we learned that in history. We didn't realize that when we were looking at it. You really called, because you didn't get the context, fake Christian, you really called our nation a nation of demons. Unintentionally. That is crazy work. But, again, it could have been intentional. Who knows? We weren't alive back then. I know one thing's for sure. Abraham and I would have had to fight. I'd have been fighting the president. They gonna call our nation a nation of demons? What the freak is wrong with you? So, anyways, do you guys have anything you want to add or say before we close it out?
Yeah,
All right, go ahead.
Abraham would have pieced you up.
Nah, because we didn't have the AC as we do today. I'd be healthier. I'd be sweating everything off.
Oh, facts. You're right. You're right.
Especially with my work ethic. We didn't have the candy we have today. We didn't have the sweets we got today. Bruh, if I was alive in Abraham Lincoln's time, do you know how like powerful I'd be? Like, because of how lack of unhealthy things we had available in comparison. Man.
They would have had you pulling chariots.
I would have definitely been in some strongman competition. Like, you know how strong my legs are now, and this is in this day and time. Just imagine if I didn't have all the unhealthy stuff available, even like trucking and all that, bro. I'd have been a boxer extraordinaire.
For real.
I'd have two-pieced the president. Actually, he probably would have won because of his reach. I think his reach is longer than mine. And he's taller. I might be wrong about that, though. You know how pictures of history can be. All right, y'all. So do you guys have anything else you want to add or say before we close it out? All right. Then I'll go ahead and close it out. Have a good night, y'all.